The next speaker is Sandra. Now, Downer, I have very, very, very fond memories of Downer. At that time, I was working at TEC, and we started, in those days, it was called upskilling program. And Downer was the very first employer we signed up to do the literacy and numeracy program. And I remember having those conversations in Auckland office backwards and forwards saying, right, guys, we need to get things going. And what I really appreciated most about the team that I was working with, they always used to have this one thing, Pushpa, so what do we need to do next to get it moving? Never that it can't happen or it won't happen or these are the issues, but what do we need to do next to make it happen? So, Sandra, I would love to hear what else is going on.
Oh, thank you. You pushed a lot on me, Pushpa. Thank you. I'll just bring up my presentation. Knowing that I was going to be part of a panel of awesome people, I thought, what can I add value to? So there's a Downer story in here, but there's also an employer story, because I looked at the title of this and it was called The Role and Place of Employers, and I very much believe there is a place for employers in workplace literacy. So just to give you a bit of background about me, I've been in my own business since 2001. I'm an employer in my own right, and I'm a small employer. So I come from both the small size and the large scale business. So my own company, I employ about 10 people this time of year because it's seasonal. And it goes up to about 60 people come summertime when labour hire type people, menial labour, is needed more in our area. I assist business. I do a lot of mentoring in human resources, and I've had over 200 businesses that I've worked alongside, mentoring them both in human resource management and in learning and development. And between 2008 and ongoing now, but between 2008 and 2012, I was contracted to Downer to deliver the workplace literacy program. We were the first ones to actually front up to TEC to ask for money and get it from the Workplace Literacy Fund. So my key thing is that I'm passionate, I can't emphasise it enough, about sustainable workplace literacy. The day we fronted up to workplace literacy to TEC, there was myself and the Executive General Manager of Downer New Zealand asking a panel of about 8 people to prove why TEC should invest in employers. And it feels kind of powerful to say we opened the way for other employers. Man, were we scared. You know, we were really out there on a limb. And we walked out that door, and the first thing the Executive General Manager said to us was, we have something to prove, and we are going to do this, and we are going to do it well. Not just at the level that a primary training enterprise would do it, but we need to prove that workplaces can actually be really proactive in this place. So I looked at Chris and I thought, oh, crikey, that means I've got a lot of work to do. Oh, so the first thing that we did, was we got out the NZQA key evaluation questions, and this became our quality assurance document. PTEs are required to do it. Why shouldn't employers, was our thinking, to prove that we are being effective. And we looked at them and we said, well, how do they relate to business? And actually, they're not too bad. The first 3 there are learner focused. So you're looking for learner shifts, and we found that a lot of what TEC were asking us to do was around those learner shifts. We as a business were interested in what organisation shifts were happening as well. And we kind of felt that sometimes TEC missed out on a bit of information because they weren't asking us about those organisation shifts. The next one, you know, I guess it's a bit big-headed, but, you know, how well do programs and activities match the needs of learners and other stakeholders? Well, hey, look, we're business. If we're going to invest in this, we want our name on the line as well. And so, you know, when we wrote our QA, we were looking at how well those programs were going to match the learners' needs and also our business needs. And there was another one there, our customers. So we went through and we edited that one and the other one to say, hey, look, these outcomes have to be of value to our business and to our learners. The last one is one that I believe is the most powerful for business, and that's how effective are governance and management in support of educational achievement. As a private training enterprise or an ITO, you're formed with the passion of people, But as a business, you're there to make profit or to do a certain role in our community. So that's quite a big change. And what I saw there was change management. But not just change manageable, sustainable change management. Because for the Workplace Literacy Fund, we only get it for 2 years, and then we're expected to work in literacy on our own merits. When I looked at those 6 questions, training enterprises start at the top and work down. We all have ones that pull out and grab us, and I found that when I talk to training enterprises, the top ones come first, and it slowly sort of peters down. From a business perspective, though, we probably start at the bottom and we work up. That's the difference that I see. So instead of just focusing first on Downer, I wanted to bring in a small business sort of side of it, and I thought my own business was where I would start, and change management is where it's at. Very small and labour hire. So I bring in people and form teams all the time. And one particular contract I had last year was to deliver God knows how many wheelie bins around 3 district council. Dave's smiling. Did you get your wheelie bin? Good, because my boys delivered it to you. And we had 3 months key date to do it. So from a business perspective, this was get a team formed, make some money and get out of that situation. So meet George. Now that isn't actually George, but hey look, I took a picture of a guy with a hoodie on because that's how George came to me. He was 24 years old, long-term unemployed, just completed LSV program. I liked him because he was fit and he didn't have any family, so we could pick him up and move him to Manamata Piako or Way the Hangover in Whirianga, and he could live there for a week and not worry about it. So I employed him as a runner. He was going to run around and deliver wheelie bins. The other chap I want you to meet is Carl. Carl, I was prepared to pay a lot more money for because I want a supervisor in this type of role who is very effective. And man, was Carl effective. He was focused on the output, the due delivery. He didn't suffer fools. And the guys that we had formed were tough guys, but he was there to get the job done. Okay, so at the end of it, the job was about matching numbers to the thing. What happened was that George, we found out, was dyslexic in numeracy. He was actually couldn't read the numbers, and Carl was going to kick him out. He didn't want him at all, and man, did we have a lot of issues. In actual fact, George walked off the job in Tairua and left a team over there trying to find him. When Carl figured out that he had a literacy problem, it changed. In business, we're not prepared to suffer people that are lazy, but people who have a learning disability, we're prepared to work with. And that's just in the environment. Carl actually brought him into this environment and gave him a different role. Now, in terms of TC and shifts, there's no shift measure, but Carl completed 3 months of work. He was offered more work from me, and he was damn proud when he got his Christmas bonus. And his self-esteem is increased. He knows that I'm there when he's ready to start working with his numeracy issue, but he's not ready yet. Carl, though, is of higher value to me because he's got sustainable awareness of the problems that are out there, and he's willing to adapt his work environment to meet those people. And his leadership skills grew through the roof. At Downer, New Zealand, a lot of that change had already happened, and I've just got about 1 more minute, haven't I? I won't play my video. So the cultural change was present. What we needed to do was step up the leadership and give them the tools that they needed to deliver on. We put 50 plus people through their frontline leadership, National Certificate in Literacy and Numeracy Educational VOC. These were people that worked on the floor, and man, that was tough going, and hat off to Alec for completing that. We wrote over 300 plus green pages, which are like the yellow pages, but how-to sheets on how to do the key things in our job. And we were contracted to TC to put 350 people over 40 hours plus. In actual fact, the guys who were our coaches ended up doing 80, 90 when there was a need, and they did it in their own time because they were passionately driven to do it. it's not one thing that makes this work, it's a whole range of things that builds the culture that you need to actually keep the momentum going. What we're trying to do is actually build it into everyday life so that it becomes business as usual, and we're not actually delivering a program, but we're thinking about the literacy and numeracy challenges in day-to-day life as we work. It's a cultural shift first and foremost, in that you can deliver a program, but once you've finished that program, how do you keep it going? How do you reinforce that in the actual environment? In order for it to be sustainable, we believe that 70% of our learning should actually happen in the workplace on the tools so that it can be reinforced on a day-to-day basis. The biggest thing is that we've invested in is a network of learning champions who can actually enforce this. We don't see facilitation of literacy and numeracy as a standalone model. We see it as embedded in all the different sorts of learning that we're doing with our guys.
The building of the culture has come through the likes of our management and the buy-in through the staff, and the fact that the staff have that much buy-in in regards to their contract that they've created their own culture. They've created this really strong team, and through the likes of the resources and the training that we've been given through the Downer organisation, the staff themselves have actually benefited in a lot of ways, even down to the likes of 67 staff achieving GIS standards at a level 2. 90% of that staff never even got close to school C.
We always looked at the money as having an end date. So when it ends, how are we going to sustainably carry this on? And that's the whole thing around this, is that if the money's taken away, Downer will still be involved in this environment, in this learning.